So at the end of every day, as long as YouTube updates, my wife and I share our revenue numbers with each other just to see. Sometimes it's just to see how high the number is. Sometimes it's just to see how low the number is. Sometimes it's just here's the number, and we kind of just keep tabs on it, and we just make sure the numbers are you know in line. Sometimes YouTube plays games. You got to check them and say hey. But the number that I actually the amount that I made yesterday was actually only from one channel. And if you take my channel and then you add it to my wife's channel and her other channel, then the number is a lot higher. The grand total is actually between the channels is $825.33. And there's another channel that I didn't even add into it because it makes a few bucks because I haven't really devoted much time and energy to it. But the grand total is actually more than that because that's just YouTube ad revenue. That's not everything else. So, so really and truly, I would say yesterday, you know, I would say yesterday we probably made at least $1,000, but that would be on the low end. That'd be on the low end. However, you know, in order to reach the goal, we need to be a whole lot higher than that. We need to be closer to $3,000 a day. We need to be closer. We need to be closer to. I mean, if we want to do $1,000,000, we need to be 2739. So let's just call it 2750. Let's just call it 2750 for easy math. That's where we need to be every day. 2750. Which we've had days in the past where it was 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 6,000. I think maybe like the highest day might have got to like 10,000. And this is when that season hits, when that opportunity presents itself, I let everybody know, like who's in my circle. I let them know and say, hey, look, the money's there. They're paying out. Go ahead and get it while you can. And odds are it'll probably come back around this year. And it may be in the fall. It may be in the fall for Christmas shopping season. And if not, it is what it is. We're still gonna grind. We're still gonna hustle. But odds are, next year, when midterms start rolling around, that money's gonna be there. I promise you guys that money's gonna be there. But if we look at just an easy number here of the three channels combined, $825.33, then that number is $25,103.79 between the three channels on average for a month. And that would put us decent. But like I said, we got much loftier goals. And we had a conversation, we had a chat today, we went to lunch and we discussed it, we talked about it, as far as what needs to be done for the business and what needs to be done for us personally. And so now, granted, this doesn't include like sponsorships and all that other stuff, so that's tacked on as well. And those are great because when the sponsors show up, they're usually coming at us with 10 to 20,000 at a time for a week. Like not a week, but it's just like they want like next week we want to do a sponsored video, and they'll let you know. And then that's good money. It pays well, and they pay quick. However, the reason why I would say that number is actually pretty low is because yesterday was Memorial Day and we went to the beach. We hung out at the pool here. I mentioned that. And we didn't do much on YouTube. So I would expect today's numbers. Well, actually, I would expect. When I made these notes to share with you guys, and at the time, I would say I was expecting the number, today's number, to actually be lower because we did less yesterday, and it's like lags behind, but it was actually higher. At least mine was higher, a little bit higher, 350 or something. And it's because last night, after I got done talking to you guys and editing and uploading that video, I did another video for my other channel, and the algorithm liked it. The algorithm. Now, I say that, but at the same time, I built it. I made it so that the algorithm would like it. As I mentioned in yesterday's video, there's things I need to do that I know I must do. I know how to do them. I try to share this with other people and let them know so that they can do it too. But for me, I just got to do it. I just got to do it and get it done. And that's it. And then, have the money and have the time and have the freedom and flexibility for, playtime later. And, the video I made was 10 minutes, is under 10 minutes. It's under 10 minutes. It's probably going to hit like 90,000, 100,000 views. It's going to pay a few $100. Just in views alone, just in ad revenue alone. It doesn't add on to the other extras that it produces because they're built into the video. And so I was expecting today's number to be lower, but it's not, because last night's video actually caught on, early. And then I would imagine that today's day 8. I would imagine I'll give you guys an update tomorrow for day 9. And I would imagine that tomorrow my number should be, I'd say my number might be closer to $500 just on my channel, and then, and if my wife, she pulls in another 5. So, we'd be at $1,000 for the day. Ain't bad, right? But we still got work to do. We still got to get to that 2750, at 2750, which I know we can do. I know we can do it. And I did take some screenshots of some of the charts and things, and yesterday as how they were going and progressing, so I could share with you. And today we actually went out before we went to lunch. We went and got a new notebook. I got a new notebook. Now this one it's not exactly what I wanted, but it's going to work. It's going to do. I'm going to use it for what I want to use it for. And so I want to give you guys some more visuals. And I don't want to just, use a computer generated graphic as an aid, or I don't want to get a whiteboard. So I'm just going to use the pad. I like writing, and I'll just do like a simulated top down angle view with my phone here and the tripod. So there's that. It's an interesting concept that I've tried to wrap my mind around, but it actually makes perfect sense. And what everyone's been telling me lately is, or at least what I've been hearing lately is, you'll make more money if you give it away for free. And so years ago, it was, you're going to make more money by teasing and alluding to, and then directing your viewers to a course. But now it's different, and things change, marketing changes, people change, everything changes, and you got to be able to change with it and adapt. And so what's changed now is you got to give it away for free. But then it's like, well, if you give it away for free, what are they going to buy from you? Well, I mean, you give away good for free. You give away good for free, and then they pay for great. Under promise, over deliver. But really and truly, what it boils down to is direct access, because there's only so much that I can think to say and share and show you guys on these videos as it relates to me, as this video is really a reminder for me, future Kevin, to look back on and just stay focused and stay on track. But it's like, if you have a question, maybe you leave it in the comments. Maybe I see it. Maybe I respond. But if it's a personal connection, then we're talking in real time. And so if you give away the value for free, if you show the numbers for free that everybody wants to know and wants to see, then it builds this rapport and this trust and this relationship that then leads to a business relationship that pays you for the time and the personal conversation and connection. And so I'm trying to wrap my mind and my head around that, but I actually enjoy it because, I feel like these are some of the things that I wish people shared before I got started, where I had to figure it all out. Now it's available. Now it's out there, However, with that being said, it's not always necessarily true. So you don't know exactly, what you're being shown, and if you're being shown anything you can trust. Now, some people have gotten into a rut, I would say, or a habit of being like YouTubers. And so you got to have a flashy intro. You got to have a Lambo. You got to have all these things to convince people that that's your resume. But I'm not trying to convince anybody. I'm just sharing this and trying to be a valuable resource. And like I said, the money will come. It will come. Literally talking to you guys on these videos, and in essence, talking to myself, allowed me within 7 days to realize, Kevin, get back on track. Do what you do best. Do what you know how to do, and make that money. Crank that number up. Prove to yourself and your bank account and everybody else, as we have this transparency and we track these numbers. I mean, I wouldn't say that these numbers are phenomenal. They're not terrible, but they're not phenomenal. So it's not like, this is a brag. It's not like it's a flex. But I say, once we get to, over $2,000 a day, I mean, folks should be really paying attention to that. Folks should be really paying attention to that. Now, I understand that this could just be relaxing. This could be inspiring and motivating, and not everybody even wants to give it a try. I get that. But I'm just going to share and document and be honest and transparent and be an available resource for whoever wants someone to talk to, someone to bounce ideas off of, someone to ask, how do you do this? And get the real, raw, honest to God, straight truth answer. I've got some titles that I'm sitting on for future videos that I want to create and put together and share with you. And this one's a tough one for me because I feel like it falls into the YouTuber category. And one of them is like, oh man, I had it saved here. Okay, here it is. I bought my C8Z06 with the money I made from YouTube. And so this is an honest title story. Granted, not every dollar came from YouTube, but you get the idea. On my car channel, which I try to keep just a car channel, and I try to keep it fun and light, and I don't post on it every day. And, some folks have started asking me, so how do you afford this car? How do you, afford this? And, to me, it's not like that crazy, considering there's some other cars out there that are like way more expensive. But people want to know, either for their own personal interest or because they want to figure out how to do it. And that was me when I was 17. I bought a motorcycle from a guy who was obviously well off. And when I made the purchase, I just asked him, I said, hey, can you my neighbor's making a bunch of noise over there. Can you tell me how to do this? And he took time out of his day to freaking sit me down and tell me. And that shit stuck with me. So anyway, I don't want it to come off like clickbaity or YouTube, too much of a YouTuber in the way that I deliver it. But at the end of the day, there is truth to it. And I think it is relatable from the standpoint of this is how much money you can make. Like, for instance, if you bought one and you paid MSRP brand new and your payment was $2,000 a month, granted, if you can get YouTube to pay you $2,000 a day, then that ain't shit. Well, you still got to pay taxes. Kevin, you still got to pay taxes. You're right. You do. But guess what? If the car is part of your business, then it's a business expense. It's a cost of doing business. It then deducts from your net income, from your revenue, reducing your net income, and it makes your YouTube money go even further. It makes your business funds go even further. I think Stradman even explained this a little bit better with his Koenigsegg and why he leased it, because lease payments are amortized differently than, or depreciated differently than just traditional finance payments. And so it's like stories like these are inspired by questions that are asked. And I kind of want to put them out there in a way that will be seen by those who might really want to get that information, but I don't want to come off too much as a YouTuber. I will tell you guys one more story, a little bit of a revelation. As my wife and I were sitting at the bar today, enjoying an afternoon looking out at the water and enjoying some beverages. And I told her, I said, I'm still, this is a continuous work in progress. This is me sharing with you guys how to make a $10,000 a month business as I'm sitting on in theory, $25,000 a month business that I'm trying to take to $50,000 a month business, which I'm trying to take to $100,000 a month business and beyond. And I told her, I said, as I share these stories with folks and I try to encourage creativity in people's daily lives as a means and ways of getting what they want. It's as simple as taking advantage of opportunities that are handed to you that you are getting paid already to do, that you can then turn into even more money in the meantime, thanks to social media, primarily YouTube. If you're a younger generation and you know TikTok, do TikTok. Do both. Be versatile, diversified. There's nothing wrong with that. Neighbor's making a shitload of noise over there. But at the same time, I can't sit here and not take my own advice. Again, another one of the videos, another one of the conversations we had, and I got to take my own advice. And so I'm sitting on a boatload of opportunity I need to take advantage of. That's it. Whether it's the main channel, that's the workhorse, whether it's my car channel that's supposed to be just fun, whether it's the third channel, the other channel that we have that we don't really use on a regular basis, whether it's this channel that's soon to be monetized probably, like, get it while you can. It's not about being greedy. It's about being smart. It's about being efficient and effective. And so with that being said, I'm like, all right, I got to take my own advice. I got to start giving away stuff for free. I got to start learning to talk to AI. That's a big one. Not just prompts, but speaking to AI is a big deal right now. And that's part of what has allowed me to literally get to a position of just clutch on my main channel, where it's like, boom, 100,000, 100,000, 100,000. If I can continuously hit 100,000 views a video, that's good money right there. And then we're going to scale from there. You see what I'm saying? So there's that. But I also said, well, in the meantime, maybe I should modify my approach, modify my price, but also, again, effective and efficient. And as my wife is sitting there next to me, and I kid you not, she's far more dynamic and better at YouTube than I am, just from a natural, raw, press, record, go live stance and position. I'm like, well, it only makes sense for me to really devote more time and effort and energy to you, helping you and your channels grow better. Because instead of me going out here, again, trying to make another $10,000 a month business just to say I did it, I could spend an hour or two with you a day and boost your channels, your business by $10,000 at the very least. And it's just a matter of, identifying the opportunities and striking while the iron is hot. And also being able to understand and identify and listen to even myself. But I think that you guys are helping me with that with these videos on a daily basis. We're now on day 8. I look forward to day 9 and every day to come, God willing, beyond that. Thanks for watching. See you guys later.